So we are going to start with the first one. It's I don't think there's need to repeat. We've done quite a lot of repetition. How we got the data in, how we clean the data, how we model, the data. We've really, that's what we have repeated over and over again, which is good. So I think it's all right to go into the actual business requirements, which is this. It says that we should analyze sales by country, by product, by employee, by customer. That last bit we won't bother because we don't have information on that would help us calculate the profit. So it will be country, product, employee, and customer. Okay. And we'll be using sales after discount. The best practice is to create what we call measure, a simple measure, okay? And you can, decide to make a table for your new measure and let it be housed there, or you can stay in any of these tables, but just for organization purpose, because the measure we are making or we are about to calculate is just like normal calculations, okay? So that you can easily find it and not be looking for it within the other tables. I would say let us use this enter data. That's yes. So that's if you want to create a new table, we said before, we can use the enter data to input table. This time around, it's just that we won't be entering any columns or physical data. We just want this table to be the one to house our measures. And we can name it measures or calculations. Okay. Measures are like they are like virtual calculations or virtual data within your report. And they can float around. They can work with any of your tables. You see, they float around. So I'm going to load that. And we'll see it created on the right-hand side as one of these tables. Okay. When it's done, still loading. All right, yeah, there it is, measures or calculations. And if we expand it, it's just the column 1, which we saw within that table that we have there. I'm going to delete it in a second, but let's put something in first. Okay. If I go into the main table, which is our transactional table, the others table, the column that I need, okay, let's quickly explain what all these are. Okay. When you see this sigma sign, it's telling us that sigma or summation sign, it's telling us that this field is a number field and it can be summed or it's been summed up. Okay. The text field don't have anything by their side. Okay. And this one here, the icon beside it is a calendar. So it's telling us that it's a date field. Okay. So had it been we have a calculated column, it will have a calculator by the side of it, within here. So each time you look into your table and you are seeing this something like an E, it's a summation sign, and that's your cue straight away that this is a number field. Okay. I just thought to explain that quickly. Now, what we want to sum up sales after discount, because the actual money that came into our hand, it wasn't sales before discount, it was sales after discount, which we named total sales. So after all the discounts have been applied, this is how much came into our pocket. Now, there's nothing wrong in just dragging. Let me show you. If I click on a table, there's nothing wrong in just dragging. Okay, we say we want to calculate or analyze sales. If I click on that total sales straight away, it still works, even if I don't write a calculation for it. And let's say I go into customers table and I decide to click on customer. Okay, customer name will be the name of the company we are dealing with. If I do that, and because this is a table, let me use this visual instead. Okay, so that's sales by customer name or customer. We can see we can see our top 3 or top 5 customers straight away. You see, and this is where your choice of visual is very important as well. Okay, remember that when I used a table, it wasn't so obvious. I'm going to copy this and paste it so that we have two that we can compare. So as we are analyzing, we'll be dealing with a few topics. And one of them is your choice of visual to use. Okay. When I first started, this was a table. So if I click a table on one of them, you see, we have that table like that. We have company name and we have the total sales for each of the companies. Okay. Now, if you were to present these to anybody, any stakeholder at all, which do you think they can easily, quickly compare? Which of these two visuals easily show us very quickly what is happening, who is our topmost?
The cluster one.
The first one, this bar chart.
The bar chart.
Okay. Exactly. It's good for comparison, before somebody is looking at numbers and trying to see in your head, you are trying to see 110 is greater than 104, 104, between 104.87 something and 104.3. This one straight on, you can see how long the bars are and you can easily compare them. Okay, so it depends on what you are trying to show. Sometimes some stakeholders like to see numbers. They actually want to see the numbers. Okay, but most of the time they just want to, within the first few seconds of looking at the report, they want some information to be passed across to them, even without you speaking at all. Okay, so this is where you decide what you are actually doing, with your people. Okay, now I'm going to change this. We were to analyze sales by company, by customer, which is this one, and just so that it reflects what we mean. Okay. Okay, before I do all of that, let's pick everything we need. We also need sales by, so for this second one, I'm going to change it. We also need sales by products. So I can go into the products table and choose products name. Okay, I can just click on products name. You see, I'll bring this up so that is better arranged. Okay, again, you can decide to, again, one thing to, between this visual and let's say this type of visual, let me change that back to this. This is the one I want to click on. And this one, okay. Again, when you have long names like Rattlesnake Canyon and all of that, it's actually easier to read the names of these customers when it's vertical like this compared to when it's horizontal. Somebody needing to read these names would be bending their neck, sort of. Okay. If these names were shorter, it would have made more sense to use this. Okay. Again, that's one thing, something you are considering while you while you choose your visual. Okay. You are constantly looking at the usability. What would be the user's experience when they interact with this how do I make it really as easy as possible for them to use? That's what you are thinking about. Okay. I'm just going to change the title so that we know which is which. So that says sum of total sales by company name. So by default, it will just use the fields that you have dragged into the visual to make it. It will use it to create your title. Sometimes you don't want title. You can switch it off there, but it's always best practice to use title because your title straight on again tells whoever is looking at it at a glance, they can see this is what information I'm looking at. So I'm going to say this is sales by customer is what I'm going to put here, not company name. Sales by customer. And I can decide to do a few things. I normally use Arial. That's not compulsory. It's just what I'm used to. I want to reduce that. We don't want the title to take too much space. I may decide to put it in the center, to center it like that and make it bold. Some people don't like to read bold text, but I do. So I'll make that bold, okay? And a few other formatting that we will do here, but let's drag and drop all of the charts that we need first. And I'm just trying to create space here. So we've got customer, we've got by products. I'm going to change that title up as well. So in the title, we have sales by products. Instead of sales by product name, I'm just gonna put sales by product and I'm going to copy the little formatting that I've done here. I'm going to copy it on here so that I'm not starting all over again. We've not really formatted much, to be honest. And each time you're dragging, when you have more than one visual, you can see that there are some red lines, dotted lines that are coming up. And it's just helping you to align with the other visuals, okay? So you will see that when I moved to where this is, the red color is coming up, showing me that they are both on the same line, you know, and that's one of the things you would consider when you are designing your dashboard, you know, as well. You want everything to be well aligned with each other. Some people have, well, what do they call it when they pick every little tiny detail? You know, you want to help them out because instead of focusing on the information that you're trying to show them, they may just be focusing on one. Why is that corner in a bit higher than the other one? Is that what they call ADHD or something? I can't remember. Okay, but yes. So again, that red line, dotted line showing. So we have those two, okay? And we also say I can copy and paste. And we just drag and drop for employee now. I'm going to remove a product name from that one and put employee. Okay, now we have a problem. We have employee first name and last name. They are not together, okay? We should actually have employee full name. That's the best way to present a name, okay? So we can decide to, let's see if we can, you know, instead of going back into Power Query to do it, Let's see if we can use simple DAX. So I'm going to say that I'm going into the table mode now, and I want to look at employees. Okay, and what I need is that I want last name and first name to be together as full name. Okay, so that's what we call concatenate, combine. I want to concatenate the last name and first name. So while I'm in employee table, I'm just going to click on these three dotted lines and create new column. Okay, so it's just to show us that it's not only in Power Query that you can do things. There are some things you can do within Power BI as well, such as using DAX. DAX is data analysis expression. That's the language, the coding name, or for writing formulas in Power BI. When you are in Power Query, it's called M language, but when you are in Power BI itself, it's called DAX, X for xylophone, data analysis expression. Okay, so this column is going to be full name equals, and I want to combine. So I could just say last name. Let me see if I just, yes. Now, when you start typing and you don't see anything come up like this, then something is not right. This is what we call the intelligence, the kind of intelligence that the tool has to guess what you are trying to do by looking at what you have started typing, just like we have it on our phones when you are texting and you want to text some words, some suggested words would just come up after you've typed it like you've typed like the first 2-3 letters. That's exactly what we are having here as well. So it's guessing from the data set as well as from the different formula functions. Is trying to guess which of these could it be. You see, it from the data set, we have what we call employee last name, which is the one we are trying to use. But it's also brought these functions. Fx means function of X, function of something. Okay, so the functions we have that start with LAS are last date, last non-blank value, same period last year. It's guessing which of them do I need, and it's brought them all up. Well, the one I need is the employee last name, okay, because I just want to add, combine those two together. Now, I'm hoping that I remember this. This is I think it's just one ampersand sign that I need, which stands for combine, okay? And I need a space between them, okay? Another ampersand. I can't remember if I should be using 2 or 1, okay? So it will be the last name, 1 space, and then the full name, and then the first name, sorry. And I'm typing the first name, and again, it brings the things, data as well as functions that have that letter, okay? Let me, just for readability, let me create space here. So what this means is bring first name, bring last name, put combine, put space, combine, then the first name. Okay. So if this is right, it would put the formula through for us. If not, it would give us error message. Okay. So I'm going to, you can press enter. I normally use this. Okay. And it says it's working on it. And let's see what has happened. Okay. It's created the new column. That's the name of it, full name. Okay. But this is not the way I want it to appear. It's like there's no space in between. They just put Davolio, Nancy, Fuller, Andrew without a space in between. And that's because when I had my speech mark, I didn't put any space in between the two speech quotation marks. That's why. So that would be corrected. and now we should have a space. Now there's a space in between. Now, just to validate and be sure that this is right, I'm going to, oh, okay, I don't think I can drag. I wanted to drag, you know, like we normally do in Power Query, drag this to this side and just compare, basically. Okay, but we can see the first two, Davolio, Nancy, and Fuller Andrew. Let's see if that's what we have here. Yes, Davolio, Nancy, Fuller Andrew. So that is correct. Okay, and if you want to add their title to the name as well, we can feel free to add that into the formula. Okay, now there's something I need of. Yes,
Please, I have a question.
go for it.
That new column that was created,
Yeah.
I have been looking at the tab, but I can't find create, okay, new column collaboration. Which one did you start with? That's my question.
How to start creating this new column? Is that what
This
you're
new
asking?
column, yes.
Okay, so on the table that you want to use, we created this new column on employees table. You click on that table.
Yeah.
Okay, while you're clicking, or as you click or hover on it, there's these three dots. You click on those three dots.
Oh.
And these are the options that you have. It says
Thank you.
new measure, new column. Okay, we want new column, and that's why we chose it. And it brought us, when you click new column, it would open up this formula bar, and you can write your formula in it.
And I cancel what is there. I delete, I say full
You mean
name.
the column?
The column equals to?
Yeah, you can just start typing on it. It will disappear.
Okay, I don't need to delete. Okay.
You can. There's no wrong thing, as long as, you know, immediately I start typing, because it's highlighted already, it disappears.
Oh, yes.
And if you delete it, it also disappears.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so I'm going to delete that. Oh, I think it will delete itself, really, to be honest. Yes. You know how we said from the start of the class that when you look at the different fields that you have, sometimes you have an icon by the side. We are in the employees table now. For birth date, it's got a calendar. That's a calendar to show us that it's a date field. Text doesn't normally have any icon by the side of it. This is another date field here.
Excuse me, Eshodi.
Yes, ma'am.
Can I take you back? You know, when you created the measures and calculations,
Yeah.
you did not right click to get new measures. It's like you used another method.
Okay, we've not even done any measure yet. All I've done so far.
Measure/calculation.
Yes, we just created a table where we want the measures to go.
Where was it created from?
Yes, it was. So if you come on the report view, this enter data table.
Okay.
That's how you create new table.
So we cannot right click and get it from new measure.
No.
Okay.
Because this is like you're building a house where your measures stay, because we don't want the measures to go into any of these already tables that we already have. We want them to be arranged on their own, like they have their own table. That's what, and that's why we have create table here. So you can put the name of the table, that what you want to name it. We named our own measure/calculation, just to show that all the calculations we made, this is where they are in-house. Then you can click on load and load it.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, I was going to show us creating a measure, but I thought to quickly show us that even if we don't create measure for this work, within our table, the field that we needed, which is the total sales field in itself, you can actually drag it from your table anyway, and it will still do the same work. Okay, that's what I was showing. Then we will create measure, and you will see that there's no difference. It's just that, again, it's good practice to create the measure and be using the measure actually instead of dragging it from the table like I have done. But I don't believe there is anything wrong in what we have done so far either. Okay, so it's your preference. Okay, so this was meant to be sales by product. and we will go into products table. No, it was meant to be, we've done, okay, this was meant to be employee. That's why we went to create full name. Okay, so we can, the full name that we have created, we can drag it here. And now we have Peacock Margaret as our topmost, the one that brought in the most money, leveling Janet being the next one. Okay, so we can easily use this if we were to do appraisal based on how the employees have performed. You see, this would be a good one to use. Okay, so I can change the title of that so that it reflects what it actually is. Sales by employee. And the last one would be sales by, we've done customer sales. Let me check the charts, please. What other analysis did we say to do?
Sales by customer.
So we done customer.
Sales by country. Analyze sales by country.
By
Sales
country.
product.
Okay. So we done product, employee. Is country the only one we haven't done so far? Okay, so we are going to have to drag the country from the customer table, I believe. Let's see where country is. I believe it's in the customer table. Yes, so that's the one that we'll use. I can take any of these, copy again and paste. So we can change this and remove the full name and put country from the customers table and drag it into there. And straight on, we can see that US and Germany are competing, US being our most, you know, the one that's done most of the sales for us. Okay, now let's make this look more professional. Okay, and let's change things up a little bit. Okay, now what I normally like to do is to make this really readable, for whoever is going to be using it. And how we do that is within this paintbrush, which we use to format. So it's time to format, our work and make it more user-friendly and more eye-catchy. Okay, we start with the y-axis. Okay, the y-axis values are, this is the font that it has at the moment. I'm always changing my fonts to Arial. I don't know why. And that is great. That's why it's not very sharp. So I'll change it to black. I may increase the font size a little bit, make it more readable. Okay. I think that looks readable enough. If it's too big, it might. Okay, I think we are okay with 11. Okay, so there isn't anything more here. Okay, the y-axis title. Okay, now if the title, the main title is already reflecting what this chart is about, there's no need for me to have this company name here. It's not really adding any value because these are my customers. I can see that these are sales by customers. Okay, so I'm going to switch off that title here. And that goes off, and that gives my Power BI visual more space, to work with. And this says, the next one says layout. Let me see what's in that layout. Minimum category height. If I change, okay. Well, did you see what happened? Our bars, the bars had more weight compared to what we had before. I think I like this, So the layout, 35 pixel, is not too bad. Okay. The good thing is, by the time you finish working well on one, I won't need to repeat all of those works on the rest. I'll just copy my formatting and use it on the rest. With one stroke, everything is copied over. Okay. We may reduce this to 30, I think. If there is need, we'll come back and change it a little bit more, but I think this is not too bogus right now. And if we keep going, then we get into x-axis. I'm going to collapse the y-axis, and then we go into x-axis, and it says arrange. Sometimes you may need for the axis, both y and x axis. Sometimes you may need for them not to start from 0. It depends on what you are doing. Okay, and this is where you come here to change it accordingly. What's the minimum value you want your axis to start with? What's the maximum that you need it to have? At the moment, it says auto. It's just automatically picking what's in the data set, and I think we are fine with that. Okay. Then we go into values for x-axis. Okay. Again, I'll change to Arial. Maybe 11 was what we had before. That gray color is not always sharp, so I would make that like that. Okay. Now, that is one choice. But I discovered that this is not really giving me enough. Like these bars, 0K, 50K, 100K. Most of the time, I like to see the actual numbers, for each of the bars, right? Maybe in front of them as data labels rather than having the x-axis. Again, it's one is my preference. Two, I believe it reads better, makes more sense for somebody who is looking at it, not trying to guess, is this up to 100K? Is it 100 and something? This is not giving us definitely what these bars are meant to give. So I'm going to switch off the values for x-axis. I'm going to switch off also the title, because that title says sum of total sales. We know we've said here sales by customer anyway. So we know it's about sales. And I'm doing all this just so that we have enough space for the actual bar, which is giving us information, and like I said, most of the hard work you would do on just one, the rest you would copy through. Now that I've switched off x-axis, there's nothing to show us what these bars are giving us as numbers, except for the tooltip that you can see right now. So I'm going to switch on the remove the grid lines. I like a very clean, no grid lines. Okay. Bars, we'll come back to that. Data label, I'm switching on my data label, and immediately I switch on the data label. Can you see the numbers for each of the bars came up? Okay. And we see a few things that, you can still do under the data label. Okay. Position, it's automatically given position, but you may decide to have it inside end for it to be exactly there. You may decide to have it outside end like it was before, you see. So it's good to play around this. We may decide to have it inside base like that. I always have mine inside end, okay? And that's 110K. I would rather go into value and see what I can do. I want the full actual number. I don't want it to be displayed like that. So like, okay, under display units, you have auto, which is what it's currently doing. You have none. None will bring the actual number. You have it in thousands, which will just bring it as K again, millions, billions, or you want to customize. But I'll put none, and then we can see the actual number. I don't want those decimals, okay? So I will go back into my actual field that I'm using, the total sales field. When I click on that, then I look up here, okay? We can tell it to have a comma so that we can read it well, okay? And it's automatically given a 2 decimal places. Most of the time to the senior management, those decimals don't really matter. So I'll remove it and make it just to make it plainer, okay? I'll remove it to 0, and we have that. So this is more easily readable as 110,000 277, and the rest, the rest of the bars like that. Then I want to decide, again, I'll change that to Arial. Maybe increase it a little tiny. The color that I have, well, it's colored it white, but it's telling us that it's gray here. So if I just put white, it doesn't matter. Okay, but it's your choice. Do you want to make it color pink or whatever it is that you want? I think the white color did it justice. You may want to bolden it if you want or not. Okay, but you see, compared to the rest of the charts, this looks really good. We've not finished complete work on it yet, but it looks cleaner, and all of that. So if I click on this one that we have worked on, and I go under home to use the format painter to copy the formatting that has been done so far, it just automatically does it, except for this one that it hasn't put as none for me. The display units, I want that as none, okay? And I still do the same for the rest. And I still do the same for this as well. Okay, and we can change the changes that it hasn't made. We can change it up to none. Again, it's not compulsory that we do. It's just how I work. So the more you get to know your stakeholders as well, that would help you to decide what you are really doing. So, and let's not forget to save this. It says it was last saved yesterday. So I've just saved the work that we've done. Okay. It looks quite very bare. So it may be necessary to, and it's not compulsory, but it may be necessary to go into, is it properties? Let's see. Yeah, go into properties, and this is quite different from what I see on my work one, to be honest. I'm looking for how to show the visual border on this. I want the border of the visual to show very well. Background, not background. I mean, you can decide. There's a layout. There's a lot that you can do. Play around with it. It's not gonna get broken. If there's anything you've done you don't like, you can undo. You can use the undo button, to make it look nicer. Position, effects. Is it under effects? This Power BI is, I've worked, okay. You see where to find all these different functions seem to be, maybe the version of it that I have on my personal one is really different. But I'm just looking for this visual border. If I switch it off, you see, the border around this is not showing. But if I switch it on, under effects, visual border, we see that visual border there. So there's a border around it. I like to have shadow because it gives it some character, like a 3D effect kind of character. I may decide for the color of that border to be like dark blue, and I may decide to make it, the width of it, a bit thick because I've got blue theme going on in there. Let me see if I'm able to copy this new change in or not. Okay, yes, it's copied in. So I don't have to do it for every one of them. Okay, now we are not properly aligned, and they don't all have the same size. It would be nice for consistency to happen. Okay, if I go into properties, which is here, and I look at the size of this, which of the sizes is more realistic to have, that would the whole thing would contain for us. I think let's try the size of this. The size of this on here, property size and height and width. 327, 626. If we copy that across board, 327, 626. So it's saying that this is 327, 626. Let's say 626. Okay, it's not going to allow us. It's too big. Okay, so undo that. Okay, maybe we should use the size of this 574. 574. Instead of trying to guess, are they the same size? Are they the same? Just look at the size of one, go into properties and do the same for the rest. Okay, so that was 327, 573, 327, 573, 327. Okay, let me see if I remove that. 327, 573. It did let us 327. No, it's too massive. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to reduce the size. You see, this last part, the part where you are trying to get everything to look really nice, it's like you are fiddling with something and it takes time, you know, but by the time you finish, you'll be happy at what you have done. Okay. Okay. So let's see if this size now works. 311, 573, 311, let's change this to 311. So 311, 573. I hope this works now. 311. Yeah, 573. Okay. 311, 573. Okay, so they are all the same size now. It's not, you now want to be sure that they are actually in the same aligned, all right. You can use the red line dots that we used before, or you can use, so this is position is telling us this is position horizontally 22, vertically 47. I want their horizontal to be the same. Okay, they are both 22, 22. So this is horizontally 675 and 470, 47, 670. So if I position this 675 as well, yeah, 675. Okay, so that moves it and aligns it better for us. You see, I'm going to save what we've just done. You see, that's looking better. Okay, now we may need more space at the top. Not that we may, we will. Okay, so it means there will be more resizing and moving around of these. Okay, just to put a text where we can say this is sales analysis page. Okay, so under insert, you can insert different things. Okay, I just need a text box to say sales analysis. Maybe we say Northwind sales analysis. Okay, I'm gonna drag that up somewhere and we can format that the way that it needs to be. I'm going to move this down, at least for now. And then we can work on this. We want to increase it. I'm going to highlight Arial again. I'm an Arial lady. Let's see if 20 is not too massive. We can increase the size of this to show everything. Okay, we can align it to the center actually. We can decide to go into the format painter and color, give it a background, you can do whatever you want to do with it, to be honest. Give it a background color that you want, maybe a background color of work, your workplace. Depends on what your color codes are at work. Let's use these, and then we can make the text white so that it shines out. Okay. Let's see if we bold it, if that's okay. We can still pull this out a bit more so that we're not seeing, and a bit more of that. You can decide to use it for the whole. If there's no logo, we can actually use it for the whole. There's no reason why not. Okay. And if there is a logo that we can get, we can put it by the side there. Okay, we can look for shapes, icons of customer, maybe somebody, a person that's pulling their trolley to go buy something. Those little logos to state that this is customer, something to showcase products. Again, something to show somebody that's at the till. Oh, this is by country. So something to show that this is by country, we can just put a global icon, here as well. Thank God we captured that because that should not be showing employee, should be showing sales by country. Okay. Let's save that. So I think this is how far we can go today. We will need to do a few more bits, change the colors of the bars, have a color theme to showcase that this is the color that stands for my customers, color for products, just so we are showing that these are different categories of our analysis. Okay, so I'll leave us to decide what color we want to use for customer, what color we want to use for products, country, and employee. And if we can, get icons for customer, product, country, employee, if we can get those sent to the data platform, that would be very helpful. So the colors we want and the logos, the icons that we want to use to beautify this, let's send them to the data platform so that we can finish this up. Is there anything that's not clear at all that we need clarified?
Do we still need to put SoftNet logo by the side, by the edge of the...
If we want to, it will be nice.
Yeah.
I believe
on the page first, I think we added SoftNet logo there.
Yeah, oh, we have it, don't we? Okay, I've forgotten that we have it here already, sir. I'm trying to tone down the blueness of that a little bit by using transparency, or maybe I should just not do a schedule and leave it alone, Jaja. Okay. Yes, we do have a SoftNet logo.
And do we really need to change the background?
How do you mean, ma?
I can't remember how we call it. Is it background? And there's another name we use before the background to make it bold, for not the background to be white.
You mean the background for a chart?
Yeah, for this page.
Or the actual report background.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I remember what you
I can't really remember anymore.
So if we go into page information,
is it wallpaper or background?
Yes, this is where you will have it. So you are not clicking on any of the visuals, just outside. And then if you come into the paintbrush,
canvas setting.
Canvas setting, you can reset your canvas. I think it will be wallpaper. I'm not sure myself. And you can decide to have it as light gray instead of it being so bluntly white. Okay. a bit of that, you know. So that's a good one. It's just something to bring something more to the table, you know, for us. We don't have any slicers. We could have wanted to look at these by dates or months. Maybe that's one thing we want to see how these have fared over time. Maybe that's what the slicer that we would put tomorrow. So tomorrow, slicer, let's change the colors. Suggestions should be sent to the platform. Let's have logos and icons that we can use for this. And this would be your report page. We can name it here. We can just call it sales analysis. Analysis. Okay. And this was the price change analysis or price analysis that we did. Okay. And this was just trend. We just did a trend analysis over time. What happened? Trend analysis. Okay. We save those changes. Okay. But yes, let's bring these more alive and let's practice and practice and practice as well. If we get stuck, thank God it's all recorded, or we can always bring our questions to the class. Do we have any